Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Tungal online classes. I think in the last class we were discussing about the enthalpy of a system, how to calculate the enthalpy of a reaction. Okay. Now in this class we are going to discuss about the an important concept of heat capacity as well as molar heat capacity, specific heat capacity. Okay. Now let's start the discussion with the latent heat. Discuss the first one is latent heat. Okay, it is denoted with L. You might have heard about this term latent heat. Latent means hidden. Okay, the amount of hidden heat is called as latent heat. Basically, it is defined as it is the amount of heat required by a substance to undergo phase change or we say phase transition. What is meant by phase transition? It is the amount of heat required by a substance to undergo phase transition or phase change. Okay, that means if a solid has to be converted into liquid, where it requires certain amount of heat at given temperature. Where it is at given temperature. Right. Now, for example, if you are talking about a process called conversion of solid to liquid, is called phase transition. A solid state of the substance is getting converting into the liquid state. What we call it as? We call the enthalpy change associated in this reaction, we call it as latent heat of fusion. What we call it as latent heat of fusion, which is denoted with LF. It is denoted with LF. Suppose if a substance is undergoing a phase change from liquid to vapor, what we call it as? It is called as latent heat of vaporization. What it is called? Latent heat of vaporization, denoted with the L vapor. Right? And suppose if a substance is going from a change in the physical state from solid to vapor, what we call this process? It is called as latent heat of sublimation. What we call as latent heat of sublimation, which is called as L sublimation. Right? What is meant by this? Okay, this is the amount of heat given, assume that the mass of the substances what is this? And if you want to change its physical state, you have to give amount of heat Q. It gets changes into another physical state. Now the heat change associated in this reaction is basically given by Q equal to ml. Q equal to ml, or otherwise what we can say, L will be equal to Q upon M. Right? So what will be the units? You can also give it as a right. Now the units will be what? Joules per gram inverse. It is an extensive property. What is this? It is an extensive property. What is meant by extensive property? It depends upon the amount of substance. Right? This is about the latent heat. We'll discuss another important term called heat capacity. Let us see what is meant by heat capacity. Heat capacity is denoted with capital C. The definition of the heat capacity is that it is the amount of heat required by a substance to change to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. It is the amount of heat required by a substance to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin it is. Okay, what is mean by this? Now let us see, assume that let a delta Q amount of heat is provided to a system that increases the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, what is meant by this? Delta T amount of temperature is being increased by delta Q amount of heat, a small heat. So when you provide a small quantity of heat to a substance, temperature is being increased by, what is this? Sorry, let us assume that the temperature is being increased by delta T, okay, or dt. Okay, when you are providing a small quantity of dq, what happens? There is a small increase in the temperature. Okay, in order to increase this much temperature, how much heat is required? dq. If you want to increase temperature by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, how much will be required? This will be equal to, what is this? dq by dt. Okay, this is the expression for heat capacity. Heat capacity is denoted with capital C. It will be equal, it is basically given by Q by delta T. Okay, this is the expression for the heat capacity. Okay, if you are talking about the units of C will be equal to what? It will be equal to what? C is equal to Q by dt or delta T. What are the units of heat? Joules. What are the units of temperature? Either degree Celsius or it can be joules upon Kelvin. So what will be the units here? It will be joule per degree Celsius or joule per Kelvin it is. Right? Now the important thing is that it is an extensive property. What is mean by this? Heat capacity is an extensive property. It depends upon amount of substance of the system. Greater the amount of substance, greater will be the heat capacity. Smaller the amount of the substance, smaller will be the heat capacity. Now the important aspect is that, okay, the heat capacity measured, okay, heat capacity measured at constant pressure is different from heat capacity measured at constant value for a gaseous system. For which it is? For a gaseous system. What is mean by this? Basically, heat capacity at constant pressure is denoted by Cp, and heat capacity at constant volume is denoted by Cv. Okay, this is a very important term. For a given gaseous system, heat capacity measured at constant value is different from the heat capacity measured at the constant pressure. Heat capacity at constant pressure is denoted with Cp, and heat capacity at constant volume is denoted with Cv. Okay, these are two important terms. Cp is the heat capacity at constant pressure. Okay, this is basically denoted by Cp is equal to delta H. What is meant by Cp? Heat supply at constant pressure upon, what is this? Change in temperature. What is this? Or increase in temperature. What is it? Increase in temperature. What is meant by heat capacity or heat supply to the system at constant pressure? It is denoted with what? It is denoted with delta H. And what will be the change in temperature? Delta T. Okay, that means what? Cp is equal to what? You can write delta H or delta T if it is small c, dH and dt. Right? Now, Cv means what? Heat capacity at constant value. Okay, that's Cv. What is it? Heat supplied at constant value upon increase in temperature. What is this? Heat supplied at constant temperature will be called as du, delta U upon delta T. So what we can write? If it is a small change, what we write? Du upon dt. Right? These are the expression for Cp and Cv. Right? Basically, what is mean by this? From this, what you can conclude? Okay, delta H. Okay, delta H will be equal to what it is? Ncp dt. This is for 1 mole. This is for n moles. Delta H will be equal to what? Ncp dt. What is mean by this? Okay, from this, what we can write? Delta U will be equal to Ncp dt. Right? What is meant by this? This delta H equal to Ncp dt gives, okay, what it gives? Internal energy change of the system at, okay, constant pressure, and this delta U will be equal to Ncv dt tells us internal energy change. Change at constant pressure. Internal energy change at constant values. Now, okay, from the ideal gas equation, what we can write? Sorry, not from the ideal gas. According to the first law of thermodynamics. According to the first law of thermodynamics, what we can write? Okay, Q will be equal to U plus PV. Okay, if you differentiate this equation with the temperature, on differentiating equation, first can I write it as Q will be equal to U plus nRT. Why? Since we know that from the ideal gas equation, P will be equal to nRT. I am replacing P with nRT. I am differentiating this equation with the temperature. If you differentiate this equation with temperature, what you get here? You will get a, okay, delta Q will be equal to delta U plus, what is this? If you differentiate this, delta Q upon delta T is equal to du upon dt. Plus what is this? Plus N R unit. Okay. This is delta Q upon delta T can also be written as what is this? Delta H upon delta T. Okay, because internal energy change at constant pressure will be called as delta H, and delta Q upon du upon dt plus nr. Okay, from this, what is this? Delta H by delta T. This is Cp, and this will be what? Cv plus nr. This is a relation form. Okay, this is the relationship between, okay, Cp and Cv. Okay, this is only applied for gaseous reactions. Okay, reactions involving reactions involving gaseous substances. Okay, the relation between Cp and Cv will be equal to what? Cp equal to Cv plus Nr. This is for n moles. For n, how many moles it is? This is for n moles of the gas. N moles of the gas. Suppose if you are talking about 1 mole, Cp will be equal to Cv plus R. This is for 1 mole of gas. Okay. For the reactions involving solids or liquids only. Okay. Then for such type of reactions, Cp will be equal to Cv. Okay. This is also very very important conclusion. Okay. From the heat capacity. Okay. Hope it is clear so far. Now let us see another important term. Okay. Specific heat capacity. What is this? Specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity is denoted with S. Okay. In some books it will be denoted with small c, but it is better to in order to avoid the confusion between the heat capacity as well as the specific heat capacity, we are using the symbol S here. In most of the books the symbol S will be used. Okay. Let us see what is meant by specific heat capacity. It is the amount of heat required. It is the amount of heat required. Okay. To raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance, 1 gram of substance by 1 degree Celsius. 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay. Whereas heat capacity is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Whereas here it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature, okay, of a 1 gram of substance. Here we have fixed the quantity of the substance. Whereas in case of heat capacity, it is the amount of heat required for n grams of the substance. Whereas it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin of a 1 gram of substance. Okay. From this, what we can write? Specific heat capacity, S will be equal to what is this? It will be equal to Q upon mdt. Okay. If you are writing, this will be, what are the units of this S? If you are talking about the units, joules per, what is this? Gram degree Celsius, or we can also write as joules per gram Kelvin. Okay. What are the units? Units will be equal to what is it? Joules per gram per degree Celsius, or joules per gram or per Kelvin. Okay. From this, what we can write? Q will be equal to, okay, m SCDT. Okay. This is the meaning of specific heat capacity. The important thing to be noted down that specific heat capacity is an intensive property. Why it is intensive property? Because we have defined the amount here. What is the amount? It is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of the substance. Okay. Since you have defined the quantity of the substance, it will become intensive property. Whereas heat capacity is what is this? Heat capacity is an extensive property. That is for n grams. This is for 1 gram. Okay. What is clear so far? Right. Now let us discuss another important term called molar heat capacity. Molar heat capacity. It is denoted with Cm. Okay. It is basically defined as, it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of substance 1 mole of substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay, it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, whereas specific heat capacity was the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram, whereas this is 1 mole. Since it is mole, we are taking it as molar. Okay, so here Cm is basically given by Q upon NDT. Okay, what are the units? What units will be? Joules, mole, degree Celsius or joule, mole, Kelvin. Okay, the units of Cm will be what is joules per mole per degree Celsius or joules. Units are very important. You have to identify the quantity based on the given units. What is the given quantity or property should be identified from the units. If units are joules per Kelvin or joule per centigrade, that will be heat capacity. If the units are joule per gram per Kelvin, that will be specific heat capacity. If the units are joules per mole per Kelvin, then that will be molar heat capacity, right? An important thing is that molar heat capacity. Molar heat capacity is also what it will be, whether it will be extensive or intensive. Since we have defined a quantity 1 mole, then it will be independent of the amount of the mass. Then heat capacity will be the intensive property. What is this? Intensive property. Important thing to be noted on that heat capacity is the extensive property, whereas the specific heat capacity as well as molar heat capacities are intensive properties. What is meant by intensive property? Independent of amount of mass. Okay, there are basically two types of molar heat capacity. Molar heat capacity at constant pressure as well as molar heat capacity at constant value. What is meant by this? This means that molar heat capacity at a constant, what is this? Constant pressure base. And this will be what? Molar heat capacity at a constant value, right? It will be the same for a given substance. If all the substances are solid or liquid state, CPM will be equal to CPV. If it is not if it includes gaseous substances, then CPM will not be equal to CPV it is. Okay, now this is about the, what is it, molar heat capacities. Now let us see the relation between Cp and Cv. We already derived the relation between the Cp and Cv in the heat capacity. What was the equation? Cp is equal to what? Cv plus Nr. This is for n moles. Okay, from this what we can write? Cp is equal to, Cp minus Cv will be equal to Nr. Okay, this is for n moles of the gas. Okay, if this if you divide the equation with the delta, if you divide the equation with Cv, what it comes? And dividing with Cv, what do you get? Cp upon Cv minus 1 will be equal to N or Cv. Okay, this can be simplified as gamma minus 1 will be equal to Nr by Ncv. Okay, where gamma will be, okay, this is called Poisson ratio, or it is also called as adiabatic constant. What it is called? Adiabatic constant. Right? From this what we can write? Cp will be equal to, Cv will be equal to what it is? Nr by gamma minus 1. Right? And Cp will be equal to gamma r by gamma minus 1. Okay, for a given substance, okay, for a given gaseous substance, what is this? For a given gaseous substance, the value of Cp, Cv and gamma depends upon the nature of gas. Okay, let us see what is mean by this. For a given gaseous substance, okay, the Cp and Cv values depends upon the for example, let's take the nature of gas. Okay. Cv will be equal to Cv plus R. If you are talking about 1 mole of gas, okay, then gamma will be what? Cp upon Cv, and we will take the examples. Right? Suppose if the gas taken is monoatomic gas, then Cv will be equal to 3 by 2 R. If Cv is equal to 3 by 2 R, then what will be Cp? It will be equal to 5 upon 2 R. Then what will be the ratio? Gamma will be equal to what? 5 upon 2 R upon what is this? 3 upon 2 R, which will be equal to 1.66. The example you can give is noble gases. What are the examples of this noble gases? Such as helium, neon, argon, neutron, etc. Suppose if it is diatomic gas, what is this? Diatomic gas, or we can say linear gas, linear molecule, diatomic molecule, okay, diatomic gas molecules or linear gas molecules. The Cp value will be equal to 5 upon 2 R. Okay, we don't have the derivation of this, how this Cp value and Cv values comes. In our syllabus we have only ratio of gamma. This ratio of gamma can be asked, the gamma value, the ratio of Cp and Cv is called as gamma. This gamma value can be asked for the various substances. It is very simple. We have only 3 categories: monatomic, diatomic and polyatomic. Okay, I am giving the ratio of all different type of gaseous molecule, that is monatomic and diatomic and polyatomic. And the Cp will be equal to 5 upon 2 R, which will comes gamma will be equal to 7 by 2 R upon 5 by 2 R, which will comes to 1.4. What are the examples for this? Okay, examples are H2, N2, Cl2, F2, etc. Right? CO gas can be taken. Right? And triatomic or polyatomic molecules. What is this? Polyatomic molecules, gaseous molecules. Then Cp will be equal to 3R and Cv will be equal to 3R and Cp will be equal to 4R, and this will comes to be 4R upon 3R, which will be equal to 1.3. The examples can be given as CO2, right? Or you can give various examples such as NH3. Triatomic or polyatomic or non-linear molecules. In the objective questions, you may be asked about the ratio of Cp and Cv, or in terms of you may ask about the Poisson's constant or Poisson's ratio or adiabatic constant. Okay, it is a very simple 3 values you have to remember. Okay, you need not to by heart everything. If you understand it is very good, you need not to by heart it. Okay, otherwise what? For monoatomic gamma will be 1.66, for diatomic gamma will be 1.4, and for triatomic or polyatomic or non-linear will be what? 1.3 it is. Okay, hope it is clear so far. Thank you. Remaining will be continued in the next class.